The Farm Center, of course, has a rich history in our state and a very bright future. Dan Bauer is the program supervisor, and he joins us with a look back and a look ahead. Good morning to you.
Yeah, thanks so much for the invite. I'm really excited to talk to you today about the Wisconsin Farm Center, kind of where we've been and then what we're working on today.
Talk about when and how and why it was created, actually a lot longer ago than I realized.
Yeah, I'm so glad you asked. In Wisconsin, we actually have a rich history of offering farmer assistance. So really the origin of this program goes back to 1984 and 1985. And you might ask, well, why did the state get interested in farmer assistance at that time? Well, it was a severe farm financial crisis that was going on. And what was happening is tremendously high interest rates, up in the upper teens and even in the low 20s in some cases. Wow. And that was doing is collapsing the value of collateral that people had pledged on their loans. So all of a sudden you had all these farms that were newly underwater trying to figure out, how can I borrow money to operate? How can I sell a farm if there's no demand? How can we keep these farms in business? So then the state of Wisconsin, what they decided to do is say, we have to get some credit advisors or credit counselors in the field to help farmers manage their debt during this crisis. And so in the mid-'80s, what they did is they trained 40 volunteer credit advisors. I think the thinking was, how do we get help to people quick?
Sure.
Well, let's mobilize the people to know, the people that are willing to donate their time, and they're people that are passionate about trying to help. And that's really the origin of how the Farm Center started.
Talk about the evolution. Some of those key points, like the hotline, have really maintained their need and really their importance in your services as well.
Yeah, so if you go back, originally those credit counselors, again, started in like the 84 to 85. And then in 1986, we launched our farm mediation and arbitration program. And that's actually a partnership with the U.S. Department of Agriculture. So that's been around a long, long time. And then as you mentioned, in 1986 as well, we launched our toll-free farmer helpline. And that also is something that we continue to operate today. And then if you look more recently, there was an addition to the state legislature, gave us a mandate to also focus on helping veteran farmers, trying to bring veteran farmers into agriculture because they've got great work ethics, they've got so much to offer. And then most recently, we've actually launched what's called a Farmer Wellness Program. And so we're entering our 4th year of that. And so what I like to tell people, Melaine, is we've got rich history. And we still do a lot of what we did from day one. But then we're also trying to evolve. Like any program, like any business, we're really focused on trying to evolve those services to meet the needs of our changing client base.
And low to no cost. If somebody is having questions or concerns, this is an incredible wealth of knowledge that they can tap into.
Yeah, I'm so glad you brought that up. The point that I'd like to make is all our services are free and confidential. And why is that important? Well, the confidentiality is so important because if you're going to make a call to us and talk about your debt loads, talk about challenges you're having with siblings or challenges you're having with your lender relationship, you don't want the risk of that getting out into the community or getting out into other ag service providers. So again, everything we talk to you about as a caller is confidential. And as you mentioned, it comes at no cost. And so what I try to tell people is calling us, there's no risk. The only risk is the time you invest. And again, we're a team of 6, and we've got decades of ag and farm knowledge and experience. So my recommendation to farmers is if you have a question for us, just call. Like I said, it's no risk, it's confidential, and no cost. So I think there's all the upside in the world, limited downside.
And sometimes just someone to listen, right?
Yeah.
You spend a lot of time in the barn with your cows, and they don't give it the best feedback always, right? Sometimes talking to someone else who's been there, walked in those shoes is really important.
Yeah, that's such an astute point. On a typical day, we get about 4 to 6 calls to our team every day. And that is what the job is sometimes, is just connecting with people, building relationships with people, and being someone that actually understands. Farm culture is just such a unique way of life. It's such hard work. It's a job people are passionate about, and people really see a lot of value in talking to somebody on the other side who shares those values and really understands their way of life.
And we know how thin the margins can be around a farm, so this is something that isn't going to cost you, but really could have huge rewards. when it comes to not only how you feel and your wellness, but also your bottom line.
Absolutely. Again, very, very high upside, limited downside. In a business like farming that's so tough, you really have to search every opportunity you can for help, assistance, and guidance.
Well, you will get all of the links to connect with the Farm Center on our website, wearegreenbay.com. Just click on Midwest Farm. You can reach them on the phone. You can reach them via email. They are open and a resource you should be taking advantage of. Thanks for the work that you're doing.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me today.